turn that into a YouTube video, which maybe will be more exciting. It'll be more of a, I don't know how long this will take. I haven't timed it. This is the first time I'm doing this, but maybe it'll be more compact of a version that gets to the gist of things, because this might be a lot of me just talking about my experiences. So overview, basically, what are we doing, the agenda for today. I'll get into my background, what I do currently, how I got here, the simple answer for how do you get a job in media, right? I'll give you the simple answer. I'll also give you the more difficult answer. I think talking with parents is a question I've got over and over and over again, with people asking like, oh, how did you convince your parents to not do medicine? Or how do I tell my parents I want to do this? I'll talk about what I think is worthwhile there. And experience building, I think the hardest thing about media is getting experience, getting that first paid gig or that job. It's always the hardest part, just getting started. Networking and leverage, and then some skills I think are very important to learn, and then we'll do a Q&A. And a lot of this looks helpful. I'm glad, Daksh, I'm glad. And yeah, a lot of the Q&A questions came from Instagram, so I posted a little like ask me anything sort of situation. So if you asked a question on Instagram, it's probably here. And we'll do Discord. If you need the Discord link, let me know. But I'll also do a live like Discord, like we'll just chat on Discord and have it go through here as well. So if anyone wants to do like a live, hey, here's a question I have, we'll do a live session as well. All right, this is me. No mustache, no beard, obviously, but this is me. I study at the University of Miami in Florida. I was a Business of Motion Pictures major, so I've shortened it to film. Business of Motion Pictures encompasses not only how do you make movies, TV shows, films, whatever, but how do you get paid on them, right? It's how do you budget the movie, how do you find investors? So it not only took the creative side, but it took the business and financial side of it, which I thought was really, really important. I also, Pranzi, hey, I'm just in time for the workshop. Yo, perfect. It's young Ashish. Pranzi, perfect timing. Yeah, so it's really a mix of business, right, analytical skills as well as creative ones. I also was a business minor, so in addition to the classes that were specific for filmmaking, I took a couple of business courses, whatever, Finance 101, economics, things like that, as well as one of my most favorite classes, or Pocky Vibes, what's up? Welcome. Thanks for the follow. Let me also just go live on Twitch or on TikTok so people know we're here. Sorry, that was media workshop on Twitch. Perfect. Okay, sorry about that. Let me set that up so people can also join from TikTok and come here. Anyways, one of the most important classes I took that I think really reframed how I look at the world was marketing. Dang, we catfishing out here. Yo, we are. I like the clean shave. Yo, see? This is what I'm saying. We need the clean shave to come back. I think we need to make it come back. But I took a marketing course. Marketing really helped reframe the way I look at the world in terms of everything's value-based, right? So I looked at things as marketing is just how do you communicate value, right? If you're trying to sell a product, that is value to a customer. If you're trying to sell a service, that's value to a customer. And that's how I look at approaching anything. It's me, Fahad, it's me. So yeah, that was probably one of the more important classes. Obviously the production classes, the business classes are all helpful. I think marketing was something that helped change my mindset. So out of college, I actually didn't get a job in media. I did one internship at a place called Dolphin Digital Media. It was a film company. They made Justin Bieber's documentary. They made a movie called Max Steel, if you've heard of it. So I actually helped with some of the Max Steel, very minimal stuff behind the scenes for like their social media campaigns and things. But I couldn't find a job out of college. It was impossible to find a job in media. So I joined this company called Epic Systems. They are one of the largest healthcare medical record companies in the US, and I was doing IT project management. So while doing a very like boring, what is up? Minus Meerkat, hello. Yikes. Sorry about that. While doing like really boring IT stuff, I started this dance competition called Legends. So if you've heard of Legends, it needs no introduction, but for those of you who haven't, it's a Bollywood Fusion Championship. It was like the best of the best of Bollywood Fusion. So we created this with a team of, what's up, Dudester? We're on Twitch today. I created this championship, and while we were making this, it was a team of 25 people that were just around the nation. Most of us hadn't met each other. The whole play on their name. I remember the epic interview. I don't remember the epic interview. Yeah. Anyways, while making Legends, we reached out to ZTV and we're like, hey, we're doing this cool Bollywood thing for college students. Do you guys want to cover it? And they reached out, they replied to us and they're like, hey, we like what you're doing. We're not going to send anyone, but can you make any content and we'll air it? So I'll get more into this later, but they basically turned it around on us and we said, yes, we can. We'll need some money. So they sent us a budget, or we sent them a budget. We made this happen and we created a documentary thing for them. It's on YouTube still. I think it's terrible, but they liked it. It was worthwhile. I see you figured out how to put music in the background. I did Meerkat. But yes, so we created this documentary, and while doing that, we were constantly in touch with their head of production in US. So I just kind of met up with her and I slipped her, a little email. I was like, hey, I was a film student. I love making things in my free time. If you ever have an opening, let me know. And I met up with her in person as well. And lo and behold, like 3-4 months after that meeting, I got a job at ZTV as a production manager. From there, I was working on a bunch of different TV shows, really TV shows and small projects. And through them, I met one of the producers at this company called Click Play Films. And when it came time for me to leave ZTV, I gave him a call and I said, hey, you've seen some of my work. We've, interacted a lot because of the stuff we've worked on together. If you ever have an opening, let me know. And he's like, yo, I could definitely use a person who's good at video editing, who can help me produce, talk to clients and whatnot. I was like, I'm your man. So now I work exclusively with him as a freelance producer. So what I do today is I will call up companies and clients, and I'm literally sitting in a car about to walk to work. Thought I'd say hi before I go on. Thanks, Cynthia. I appreciate it. I'm on Twitch today. Just wanted TikTok to know I'm here. But have a great day. Enjoy all the animals, Cynthia. Take care of them. Yo, Imran's up. What's up? I was, what were we saying? You used for their name, explained the whole, how you could change epic. I was like, oh, gotcha. Yeah. I totally have forgotten how I did that, presentation. But yeah, so what I do today is I call up companies and I show them our portfolio from Click Play Films and I say, hey, if you need any sort of video, I'm your man. Let us know what we need. Then I hire videographers. Sometimes I hire editors. Sometimes I hire audio people, lights, camera, whatever, and manage them. I make sure that they do what we need. I talk to the client, figure out what the project looks like, and then a lot of times I'll even edit those projects personally. All right, here's the simple answer to how do I get a job in media? You just need to make stuff. That's literally it. And I hated this answer because every single person was like, you just need to create something. And it's just like, what do I create? How do I create? I don't have a team. I don't have this, that. Unfortunately, the cold hard truth is if you want a job in media, if you want to be a creative person, you have to create, right? It's a matter of the industries. You have to have experience. You have to show that you can. The next question, and we'll get more into creation and how do you do that in a bit. The next question I get a lot was, how do I talk to my parents? And I think that this is the wrong question to ask. I think that the question shouldn't be, how do I talk to my parents about me wanting to go into creative industries like marketing, media, film, whatever. It's really, how do I prove to my parents that this can be a reality? That's the approach I took. I tried having that conversation with my parents of hey, I want to be a creative. I want to do filmmaking. And it wasn't a successful conversation. I was pre-med for 2 years and hated it. But in my free time, I was making stuff. So while I was in college, I started off pre-med and someone reached out to me, one of the upperclassmen. So we have an Indian Students Association, and it's very tight-knit. A lot of the people just know each other. So there was a day where the freshmen were hanging out with the upperclassmen. One of them came up and they're like, hey, what do you like to do? And I just told him, I was like, I like making videos, filmmaking. And he's like, oh, can you make one for our Ross team? So I made that I was like, yeah, absolutely. I made him a video. And next thing you know, the Bunger team wanted a video. And next thing you know, the competitions and other teams wanted videos, and I was getting paid to make them. So I was getting gigs in college for up to $1,000 for making videos and different graphic design packages for people. And I used that to show my parents. I was like, hey, I'm earning not great money, but okay money making videos in my free time. Now, imagine if I did this full time, right? I'm spending 80% of my undergrad experience doing pre-med stuff, going to classes, studying for exams that I don't care about, don't want to do, not doing great at that. And then in my free time, I'm organizing events through our ISA. I am making videos for these like different teams and organizations and getting paid off of it, right? And it took reframing this, hey, let me, like, having that conversation of, can I do this, or saying that, it'll be fine, to me proving that there is some sort of fruit here to be had, right? That there was money that could be made. And to be like, there's a lot more than just trying to become a director. There's intermediates of freelancing, of corporate work, and that. So I think that that's the approach that people need to take, is don't try to convince your parents to let you go into media. Prove to them that you can be successful there. So how do you do that, right? How do you gain experience? And this is where I'd love your questions. If you guys have a spot where you're in, whether you're in high school, college, out of college, and how much experience you have, I can definitely do some personal answers for this. I'm going to go with the assumption that you know how to make stuff, like video editing, graphic design, to a point where you can do client work. So the first thing, if you don't have that, if you don't have that ability, you've got to learn, right? And I don't think college is a spot to learn technical skills. I'll be very clear. How much did I get paid? In college, I got paid around $700-800 from an organization called Miami Mayhem, which they basically, what's up, Abby? What's up, Luck the Duck? All right, everyone on TikTok, we're on Twitch right now. I have a PowerPoint thing going on. So we're just talking about working in the creative industry. How do you get a job here? What do you do? So if you're interested in that, come to Twitch. It's the same username as my TikTok. So twitch.tv/ccms. Come through. I charge $700-800 for like a package of like, hey, I'll do this much graphic design work. I'll do 2 videos for your organization, and I will design a couple of these documents for you. But your rates definitely should vary based on like the type of project you do and how many hours. I also think that, and I'll get into this as well, you should definitely not try charging straight off the bat. I did a bunch of videos for free before I started getting paid, and once I started getting paid, I was charging roughly $200 to $300 per video to shoot and edit, which is underpriced in like the industry world, but decently priced in an undergrad world. So first off, to create stuff, use the resources around you, right? The people around you, get them to help you film your videos, get them to be in them, to hold the camera, to get other people, right, through them, network through them. If there are organizations at your college, talk to them, figure out what sort of needs they have, and leverage your social media as well. Use your Instagram to be like, hey, I'm working on this video project. Can I get XYZ help? Or I want to do some video stuff. Do you know anyone looking for video work or graphic design work or whatever sort of creative stuff you offer, right? Get really freaking good at social media. Leverage your TikTok, leverage your Instagram, right? If you're on TikTok, use it to grow your following and your audience so that you have a bigger network that you can access. Gigs are probably the best form of, apart from internships, are the best form of experience to show that you have client work. So when I say gigs, I mean you have an organization, whether it's a small business, a large company, an individual, or a college org, like team or whatever, that is paying you for work. So gigs are probably, outside of internships, the best thing you can do because you can show client work and you can really sell your resume on that. Getting gigs is hard because it requires you to go to a company and sell yourself and be like, hey, this is what I can do, and this is how much I charge and what I can offer. Internships are probably one of the hardest things to land. Loving the stash. Thank you so much, Just Irving. Appreciate it. We're on Twitch today, Just Irving, talking about working in the creative industry. If you are interested, come through. Shishams is the username. Internships require a lot of luck, to be very honest, and even better, a lot of connection. So if you know anyone who works at a company, either they're like a small business, a CEO, or knows anyone working for a media company, they're probably your best bet to getting you an internship. Learning to network and talk to your your pool of people and ask them, hey, can you get me a job here? Can you get me an internship? Is the most useful thing that you can do, and it's probably one of the things I hate doing the most. I hate asking for favors, but that's just the name of the beast. For my internship in college, when I was taking a media course, I took a media law class, and the person who was teaching that media law class happened to be the owner, the CEO of a production company. And I did well in that class. I was very outspoken in terms of answering questions and whatnot. And I think he liked me. So at the end of the class, I was like, hey, can I get an internship? He's like, yeah, you know what? Send your resume to this person. He gave me the email. He said, tell them that I sent you, right? And we'll consider you. If your resume looks good, we'll put you in. And sure enough, it got me a summer internship at that company. I wasn't able to turn that internship into a full-time job. They weren't looking to hire anyone full-time. But by just asking my professor at the end of a class to be like, hey, I'm looking for an internship. Can you help me out? He was more than happy to set me up. Those are really important. If you're trying to get a job later on, being able to talk to the people at your internship to see who they might know at a company when you're graduating from college is helpful to get a full-time job, or even just using that internship to become a full-time job after college. Yes, getting your foot in the door, right? It is a good foot in the door to use your professors, right? Use the people you know to get that opportunity somewhere. And then this last one, taking opportunities at work, is something if you're not in the creative industry. So I was at Epic, the healthcare IT company, right? One of the things I tried to do there was they didn't have a marketing team specifically. They didn't do a lot of video work. If they ever did, it was very scarce and usually outsourced. But I started a group of people that were also in design enthusiasts, and we started designing better PowerPoints for internal and customer work. I'm a 9th grader. How do I do good? I need tips. Bashir, come to Twitch. Twitch.tv/shishams. I will be happy to answer all your questions over here. We're just going through this session of becoming a creative, and I'll definitely give you tips if you're interested in that sort of stuff. So hop on Twitch, and I'll be happy to talk to you. But yeah, so I started a design work group that was just about creating PowerPoints, right? And that started getting kind of well known. There were definitely people that were upper management who heard about us, and I would have probably turned that into a marketing design/video production role eventually if I didn't leave for ZTV. But figure out, in addition to the work you're doing at a company, if this is stuff you're interested in, how can you add that value, right? I knew that the PowerPoints we were using were all stock, Microsoft templates that just didn't look good. And so I found a need that we can make this more corporate branded because we don't have a graphic design team for this or whatever, that will just make this feel like it's a better and richer experience. So figure out how to create. I'm a huge proponent of creating your own opportunities wherever you are. And yeah, do it for fun and then do it for value, right? Talk to people around, do that job for fun, right? Talk to that dance team that needs an intro video, do that one, do the second one, do the third one for fun. And then when you get people coming to you and asking you, then charge for it, right? Do it for value. And again, create your own experiences. It doesn't matter where you are, what company you work for, there is definitely a need for creative stuff. And the question is, can you fulfill it? And if you can, how do you... Bashir, welcome. Thanks for joining. If you can fulfill that need, how do you let someone know that this is what you're good at? You start by talking to them, right? I'm a goat. What's up? Where are you at? I'm a goat. So getting that first paid gig. If you have experience, so this really means that you are a technical person. You know how to video edit. You know how to graphic design. You have some sort of creative skills, right? you just call your local businesses, call your coffee shops, call that mom and pop grocery store, right? Call any like marketing, or not marketing, any like consulting firms, business firms, tax firms, law firms, whatever it is, even your small doctor's office, dentist office. They always have a need for those sort of things, right? It might be that they want to do testimonial videos where they just get a bunch of their patients or clients or whatever to just talk about them and put that together. Figure out what they need, right? Don't call them and be like, hey, I make videos. What do you need? I can sell it to you. Call them and be like, hey, I am a content creator. I'm just curious, like, do you have any video needs? What are they, right? Talk to them and have a conversation. Don't try selling yourself first. Just be like, hey, I'm this sort of thing. Can I just talk to you for a minute? I'm trying to get a gauge of like what sort of videos or what sort of work is useful for you. Figure out what's valuable to them, right? If you haven't gotten a paid gig yet, and if you don't have a portfolio, right? Figure out their problem and be like, would you be interested if I made you a video for free, right? If you don't have a portfolio yet, if you haven't gotten a paid gig, do it for free and then do it for value. If you do one doctor's office, two doctor's office, and a law firm for free, you now have the start of a portfolio and you can leverage that against other companies that you call to say, hey, I made this video for these 3 people. Would you like one like this? You know, especially if you can go to their competitors and be like, hey, I made this for them. Would you like something like this? It's working really well. Hi, what made you decide to come up with your username Shishams? It was actually a nickname that someone gave to me, Monica. Is it Monica? But yeah, we're on Twitch for everyone on TikTok. We're on Twitch today. We're just going through a PowerPoint presentation that I've made about how to get a job in the creative industry. Let me check comments real quick. So promo video for a new restaurant or a store is a good resource. Absolutely. As a grand opening for sure. So I produce music, Pocky Vibes. How would I be able to do something like this? Should I team up with a video editor and maybe make commercials with music or something like that? Pocky Vibes, let me come back to your question in a little bit, okay? Let me do that one in the Q&A because it's a little specific to what you're doing, but I think some of the other stuff might be useful and we're close to the end of this presentation anyway. So I'll get there. Bashir, I'm a 9th grader who needs tips to be successful in school. Bashir, are you talking creatively or are you just talking about regular schoolwork? Yeah. So again, when you call up your restaurant, don't just say like, hey, I can make videos. What do you need? Call them and be like, hey, I know that you guys do this. What sort of things are you trying to communicate to your customers that a video could help out with, right? Figure out the problems they have and then help them solve it. And do it for free, once, twice, 3 times, and then start charging them. And charge the same people, right? After you make a video for the first restaurant, go to the second, third, call that first one 2 months later and be like, hey, this is Ashish. We made a video a while back. I wanted to know how it's been doing. Did you find it useful? I have a great rate going on now. I charge XYZ dollars for whatever. If this is something you're interested in, we can definitely get another video going, right? This is how you create a client base of people that will keep coming back to you. Thanks for the bits, Bonsai Kid. And that's part of your network, right? You have to learn how to create a network of clients, of people that you can use and leverage for either future clients, for work, for referrals, for your foot in the door at an internship. And then lastly, like, learn how to sell yourself. So coming back to what Baki Vibe said, he's like, I'm a music producer, right? Your job is going to be learning how to sell your music. Who is trying to buy your beats? Who is trying to buy the songs you're creating? And who would find that useful, right? Learning sales is going to be, especially if you go into the freelance world, is a critical skill. Learning sales is a critical skill for landing clients, but learning to sell yourself is a critical skill to getting a job. Networking and selling. So again, going back to my road of how I got to where I am today, the first thing I did was create a Bollywood championship, right? Through that, we reached out to ZTV and we said, hey, I'll make you a documentary. And that was the value that I could provide to ZTV because they were looking for content and we could make content. So I said, hey, I'll make this piece of content and sell it to you. They're like, okay, how much are you going to charge? We charged them very little. While I made this video for them, I networked my way. I talked to the people at ZTV. I talked to the programming director and was like, hey, I'm making this video. You see my work ethic, right? I like had a few conversations. We worked on the video together, right? So she knew what I was like, what in terms of working with clients, how I was thinking, my work ethic and everything. I was like, you're already working with me. I'd love to see if I could get a full-time job at ZTV. And sure enough, like through the video, the value that I added, through my work ethic and me being able to sell myself to my network of people at ZTV that I had just met, I was able to get a job there. Then while at ZTV, I was working on a show, and I can't say the name of the show since it hasn't aired, but through that, the producer that I was working with, again, I had to work with him hand in hand. I talked to him on a regular basis because of the show. He saw my work ethic, he saw this. So when I left ZTV, he was one of the first people I called. I was like, hey, we've worked a lot together. I just wanted to know, do you have any openings for work? He's like, I can definitely get you as a producer. You can use my portfolio and this and that, and we can work together on future projects, together. Again, I networked, had my network. I made a network at ZTV, made a network at Click Play Films. I created value and I sold myself, right? If you don't ask, you're never going to get it. And if you don't ask, you'll never get anything, truthfully. So something important to keep in mind, that you have to be the one who puts yourself out there. You have to ask that question. You have to throw yourself and say, hey, this is what I want. Can you give this to me? Let me check the comments real quick. I used to put all the things I needed in my notepad. Okay, so this is all for Bashir? Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, thanks. I appreciate you guys taking care of Bashir's question. All right, coming down quickly to top skills that I think are going to be very important going forward. Video production, graphic design, any sort of thing that's creative, copywriting. So the first section is stuff that I think is creating, right? Creative stuff, you're making something. You can definitely drop music into this as well, Pocky Vibes. Super easy to do that. The next step is analytics, right? It's analytics and sales. Learn Google Analytics, learn Salesforce. These are all CRM stuff, content resource management, customer resource management, sorry. These are things that will help you look at data and determine how to sell things better. Then the next portion is ads management, right? Learn social media. How to sell an ad on social media is also a creative thing. People who make stuff need people who can sell stuff, right? And if you're a freelancer, you need to be able to sell stuff and make stuff. So learn, if you have a part-time job or anything and you can make a little bit of money, even if you make $10, go on Facebook and Instagram and start selling ads, just putting ads out there, right? To see how they do and look at them, track the analytics, just learn how to get sales, right? Learn the platforms, because ads management is something that every company needs right now. Every company is selling on Instagram, Facebook, Google, tons are selling on Amazon, and TikTok is now going to be the next place where companies are going to go, right? They've opened up the TikTok business section or whatever, so we're definitely seeing a lot of ads already on there, and I think it's only going to grow. Get ahead of the game. Get ahead of the game by just practicing. It does take some investment on this. In this case, you can definitely watch videos and learn, but until you've done it with actual money and actual ads, you really don't know how good you are. But learn that. YouTube is a great resource for all of this. Marketing communication. This is stuff I would prefer you learn in college. Take marketing classes, communication classes. If you know this stuff, it's not going to be useful. I didn't know this going in, and I think it was incredibly valuable in, again, changing my mindset on how I approach things. And then researching. Learn to research. Trends, obviously on TikTok, we see trends all the time. There are trends on Twitter. There are trends on Instagram. Look out for them. I also include look out for design or video elements, right? There are things like, for example, if I go back, this like highlighted text on this PowerPoint even, right, with these like blue highlights, this is a trend that's going on, and it's been going on since BuzzFeed started it, or popularized it, I should say. But this style of text and design is a trend, and I keep watch not only of things that are trending in terms of content, but in terms of stylistic design choices. And then social listening. This is a tool that I did at my internship, which is when you have a project or something for a company, what are people saying about it, right? So when we put out a trailer for this movie, my job was to search Twitter for any sort of comments about this and then source whether they're positive, neutral, or negative. Trend watch or social listening is very much about what are customers saying about your product or service based on what's out there, right? What are the magazines and reviews saying about it? And how do you, because a lot of times when you're marketing something, it's not just let me put this video or this piece of content out there, it's let me put this out there and reframe the negative into positive, right? You want to convert people who don't believe in your product or service to believing in it. Q&A. So let me get into the Twitch questions that I've seen real quick before I get into the Instagram ones. Ashish, I've been writing a script for a TV show I want to make. How would I make it into a real show? I'm thinking of starting it on YouTube, like a low budget thing. This is probably the best way to do it, Daksh. If you don't know anyone in the industry to sell it and pitch it to, the best thing you can do is make it yourself on a low budget. I know that there was a video series on YouTube a while back called Keeping Up with the Guptas. It was just a guy with his parents and his siblings, maybe friends as well. They just made this like Kim Kardashian-esque show in North Carolina. I think his name was like Sunny or something. And he wrote the script, he edited it all, directed everything, and it got a lot of like, I think it got like 24 something thousand. Like it wasn't 100,000, but it was like in the 20-30,000 range. But because it picked up steam, he was able, like people like came to like, hey, we liked your writing, we like what you did, would you like to work for us? He got a writing gig from what he did on YouTube. What I would recommend, Daksh, if you have a good script, there's two ways you go about this. If you think you are professional enough and have the network to be able to try to sell this, you create what's called a sizzle, or basically like it's a very mini version of a pilot. So let's say your script is for a TV show. Rather than shooting a 1-hour pilot or a 30-minute pilot, you shoot about a 5-minute episode or segment that will give you a flavor for that whole show, which will also confirm your ability to either write, direct, or your team's ability to do so. And you use that to sell it to different companies. Say, hey, we can make this level of quality show. Here's the script for everything. What do you think? Would you buy it? Otherwise, you have to get yourself out there. Use YouTube to make your show in a low budget way, then use TikTok to advertise for free to the masses about it. Pocky Vibes. Again, going back to your question about music. Music is a really hard industry because it's very saturated. It's actually more saturated than video, I would say. And unless you make it big, like really big, you don't really do too well in terms of making money. Spotify gives you some royalties, and I don't know what type of music you're making, but if you're trying to make corporate music, which is like beats and stuff that are going to be used in videos, it definitely helps if you can team up with people who are ready to purchase your music over and over. So if I was in your shoes, what I would do is hit up your favorite like lower level YouTubers, find people that you think are about to blow up. Those would be your ideals, and be like, hey, I would love to make music exclusively for you if you can advertise for me, right? So say that, hey, you're gonna make them an intro song, a theme song, background music that's custom to their channel, and what you want is music by Pocky Vibes, somewhere as like a lower third, or popping in every minute and a half as like, you know, whatever, a shout out or something. That way other people can see that you're making music for them, custom music, and they can reach out to you. Was it difficult? I'll get into that, Pranzi. That's actually the next slide. That would be my recommendation for you. Definitely try to team up with editors. Find like different companies that might want it. Custom music, like there's so many companies that just, I buy stock music. I would never personally go to a music producer unless I had a very specialized project that needed like very custom music. Maybe look into stock websites to see if you could put your music out there and how much they charge. So I know like Audio Blocks, Premium Beats, and all of these. See if you can get affiliated with them as well to sell your music. Nina and Samex, what's up? We are on Twitch today, just talking about working in the creative industry, doing a Q&A session. So if you want to come through Twitch, we're doing some questions, and yeah, it's a party. Dux, yeah, it's still early, but I'll do it on YouTube in a few years and see what people think. Absolutely, do it. I mean, you're learning editing right now. You're doing well. You're growing as it is, and the more you do that, the better you'll become. No problem, Pocky Vibes. If you have any other questions, let me know. If you guys want to do a Discord session, I will check this as soon as I get done with these 4 questions. If you want to just hop onto one of the voice channels, I'll hop on afterward. So, yeah. Let's see. Okay, so can one still be involved with media even if they're in a completely different career field and pursue it as a hobby? I think so, for sure. You can definitely be involved in media, and there's a lot of things that I haven't even mentioned that can be used as involvement. One, PR. Having connections, which is public relations, is something that's incredibly valuable. If you're the middleman for someone to get to someone, you can charge for it, right? It might not always be money, it might be favors or something else, but that's always a way to be involved with media. If you're trying to create content, you can also do it as a hobby, right? There's a lot of people just making even if it's not like videos or graphics stuff on Etsy, right? Products, which I guess isn't media, but it is creative. If you're talking media about videos specifically, yeah, you can freelance. It definitely will be time. If you were in a lucrative career, I would recommend hiring someone to do your sales work to find you clients, and then just do the video editing in your free time as like a nighttime shift, right? Or a weekend thing. Yeah, keep practicing for sure, Daksh. So I do think you can be involved with media. I do think at some point, if you're trying to go full-time into media, you'll have to make that jump, right? There's going to be a point where you just grow too much, where you're not going to be making incredible amounts of money selling videos, but it's too much to do with a full-time job. So there is a point where you have to take that leap, but you can definitely start out pursuing media as a hobby. Was it difficult to make it into media? So Pranzi, this is your question. I would say is it difficult? Yes. Let's put it that way. It's not easy. It's by no means easy. You need to be talented, right? Or if not talented, you need to learn these skills that make you someone who can add value and can sell your work, right? So you have to have the skills to be able to offer something creative. A lot of it is who you end up meeting, when you end up meeting them, what do they need. So there's a luck component to it. Do I think there's a formula for doing it? Absolutely. I think it really is. Create stuff that people want and then learn to sell it. TikTok, social media, whatever, makes it a lot easier for you to put yourself out there. So I do think that, like, and this is kind of tying into the next question, there's a lot of fish in the sea, but there's a lot of ways to stand out, right? With content creation being so accessible, how do you separate yourself from the rest? How do you stand out, basically? You just have to be better, right? You have to have your own style. So a lot of things, like, I think this is most evident in design, right? Whenever Nike or whatever company wants to do a campaign with like posters and graphics, they don't there's an element of Nike in them, but there's always an element of the artist's style, right? The designer's style to it. And having your own style and knowing who that appeals to is very, very important. There's a lot of like abstract artists that appeal to a very like niche demographic, right? You wouldn't want to use that abstract art to go and, try to get boomers to do something, for example, right? If they don't like it, if it's not that group. So develop a style and know your audience for that style, and then figure out who wants to influence this audience, right? So for me, for example, I know that South Asians are my audience. My style is very much high production value for South Asian content. And so I'm not going to go to someone like Walmart and be like, hey, I can make a Bollywood video for you guys to sell as an ad, right? Off of my own brand. I'll definitely do that for my actual work, but I wouldn't do that off of like the Shishams brand, for lack of a better term. So knowing who you appeal to is very, very important in terms of separating yourself, and then figuring out who else wants to appeal to them and selling yourself to those people. How satisfying is it to use a movie clapboard? It is actually very satisfying. I love it. The first few claps in a day are great. The last few are just like, can we get over with it? So it is a curve of like super exciting to I'm just done, because you end up doing that like 20, 30 times a day very easily, depending on what you're doing. How should I prioritize making beats and balance that ratio to schoolwork and other skills? This is a hard question for me to answer, Pocky Vibes, because I think it's a very personal question. I think that, let's see, okay. So I think that part of it is you need to know that if music doesn't work out for you, what's your fallback and how comfortable are you with that fallback, right? If, for example, it's something that, if you're falling back into something that like you need school for, then you can't just like let school go, right? If your fallback is something where it's not like, for example, if medicine's your fallback, then you better put more effort into school than you would for something else. If it's something like business or consulting where grades don't matter as much as your personality, communication skills and things, then you can put a little bit more effort into your beats. If you're making beats on a regular and you're having fun with it, like I think your efforts should then maybe focus, like let's say you have a good amount of beats, but they're just sitting there. Instead of trying to continue making beats, which you're already good at, figure out a way to sell them, right? You might need to learn a new skill rather than just making beats, which is marketing, sales, whatever. That might show you more value into music. Does anyone do YouTube? If yes, what editing app do you use and how much does it cost? So I have a couple of YouTube videos. I've been working on, or I've been telling myself I'm working on a lot more. I want to turn, again, this session into a YouTube video. I use Adobe Premiere. I get it paid from Click Play Films. They pay for it. I think it's about $20 a month. There's a free version, or there's a free resource called DaVinci Resolve, which I recommend to everyone because it's good for color correction. It's good for video editing as well. That is free. So yeah, I would recommend DaVinci Resolve for video editing. Thanks for answering my question. Of course, Francie, absolutely. Back when you mentioned investors, how do you find investors even if they shut your idea down? Is After Effects worth it? If that's something you want to go into, yes. For motion graphics especially, and VFX, there isn't really a good competitor to After Effects in the industry that like does it as well. Just very blatantly, like After Effects is probably like, there's good competitors to Photoshop, there's good competitors to Adobe Premiere. I think After Effects is the one area where I haven't personally seen any other software that does it as well. Investors. Okay, so investors are a very hard one. This is something I haven't locked down, but I, again, leverage my network. So the producer that I work hand in hand with knows a lot of rich people that are looking to not double, but like invest in films. A lot of times dentists end up being those people. So like doctors, dentists, if you know family, friends that are in there and can put in a few $1,000s or whatever towards your project because they support you as a person, they trust in your abilities, that's definitely the people to go to, right? Again, you have to use your network. And so the way I would approach them, right? How do you find them? One, got to know who has money, who would be willing to support you, who would be interested in this sort of thing. And you have to come up with a business plan. So if I'm trying to make a TV show, right, I can show that, hey, this company, maybe I've already talked to a couple of networks that are interested, but want to see my sizzle, right? Maybe I've talked to a couple of actors or talent that are like, yeah, we're down to help you out with this. First, you've got to come up with something worth investing in. If that's a TV show or a movie, that's not enough. The one thing that I would also like to just be very clear on, ideas are worthless. Ideas are absolutely worthless. Just because you think you have a good idea for a TV show, a movie, even a TikTok, does not matter if you can't make that a reality, does not matter if you can't put any effort into making it a reality. So, my YouTube is Ashish Yamdugni. Just like search my full name. I appreciate that, Pranzi. Yeah, so it's just my full name. If you can't make your film or your project into a reality, it's completely useless, right? So I could have a great idea and I can tell my family friend who's a doctor that I have this great idea. They're gonna be like, okay, but even if I gave you $10,000, what are you gonna do next? Who are you gonna have? And if I can't show them that I have this many actors or this many people, or that I've talked to this network that's ready to buy it at a price, that investment is just, let me throw $10,000 at you and it's going to go to waste, right? So you have to have that business plan. Business pitch, yes. Yes, yeah. So networking is for sure. To find investors, you have to network, and that includes potentially cold calling offices, right? Investment companies that invest, firms, small businesses, doctors, dentists, you might cold call them. But what they want to know is, what's my ROI? What's my return on investment? And for that, you have to say, I'm going to create a $10,000 sizzle, or maybe a $30,000 TV show pilot. This is what you're buying into. If this gets picked up, we would sell it for this much money, right? Maybe we're selling it for $3 million, of which you would get X percent. That would be, $100,000, right? So for your $30,000 investment into making our TV pilot, if we sell it, you would get $100,000. And then it's on that investor, just the same way they would look at stocks and they would look at portfolios and whatnot, right? They would have to look at what you can do, who you have on this project with you that's working on it. If it's just a bunch of college kids that are trying to put together something, likely you're not going to get an investment, right? But if you can show, hey, for me, example, I have producers that have made TV shows that I know. I have people who are directors for TV shows on Netflix that I know. They know actors and actresses that are well known that we might be able to get. And if I can now show a team of people that are qualified, it's a safer investment. Also, could you put the video editing app on Discord? Absolutely, Pranzi. I will definitely do that. Let me just check. If you guys are on the voice channel on Discord, I will join. Let me check. Okay, so you guys are not. So that's cool. Any other questions, I guess? And Pranzi, I'll show you here, but I'll put this in the Discord as well. It's called DaVinci Resolve. This is the video editing app that I was talking about, which is free. And it's really good. It was mainly for color correction, but they've added a lot of features to make the video editing portion very nice as well. So let me just tag you on Discord so I don't forget. And there you go. Did I ever consider, let me just go back to this one, to make edit videos for wedding industry? No. Okay, I get this question a lot, Nick, and it's not something I want to do. Wedding videos, so my thing is, I like to tell stories through my videos, and even if those stories are corporate stories and kind of boring, I enjoy that. Wedding videos are what we call in the industry event videography, which is like a highlight reel. And I actually just really find that boring. It's not interesting. Wedding footage is also so repetitive, right? At least with every company video, the story I'm telling, understanding the client, right? Like, I've done videos for financial firms, I've done them for healthcare firms, I've done them from real estate, and I've done them for tech. Learning those industries is like interesting because I have to tell that story specific to whatever company is hiring me. Wedding videos, even though like the couple is always different or whatever, you're not always telling a story. You're just kind of showing what this wedding is like. And it's super repetitive and super mundane to me. It's not something I care for. There's a lot of, there's definitely a lot of competition out there. I think it's like too cookie cutter for wedding videos for me. Zed, what's up? Makes sense. Did I miss the Q&A? We're doing the Q&A right now. I've got maybe 10 more minutes, Zed. So if you have any questions for me right now, you probably missed the whole PowerPoint, but I think I can actually clip this or like I think this will actually be live afterward. Ria's auntie thinks she's mental and isn't coming on live for a month. Oh, well, that's sad. I'm sorry to hear that, Daksh. Nick, is this something you're thinking about going into? Rog is probably a really good resource for that, right? Because he did this. Zed, any questions for me? Let me know. But yeah, otherwise I think I've covered as much as I could. And I guess the next portion of this is feedback, guys. I would love your feedback. If you guys think that this was useful, if this was helpful, if there's other things that you want to see specifically here, let me know. Was there something that I didn't cover that you were like, hey, I really wish you talked on this topic? So I want to turn this into, again, I want to turn this into a YouTube video. If you could let me know segments that you were like, hey, this segment was really important, you should definitely include this. Or, hey, this segment wasn't as important, we think you could cut this. Because this was an hour-long conversation. So I don't want to make an hour-long YouTube video. Would probably want to do 10 to 15 minutes. So any sort of advice, feedback, I'd love to hear from you guys.